Service. That word means a lot to people, and for some, serving in the armed forces is the ultimate act of service to others. Unfortunately, serving one's country isn't a right for everyone, and the LGBTQ community has been fighting for years to serve. The U.S. military hasn't always been friendly to people in the LGBTQ community. Many military policies that were enacted cost people their careers and, for some, even their lives. In order to understand this injustice, we must go over the timeline of military policies enacted around LGBTQ service members. During World War II, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War, the military defined homosexuality as a mental defect and officially barred homosexuals from serving based on medical criteria. During this period, there was a need for more personnel, and this criterion was relaxed. Many gay and lesbian service members served honorably during this period. After the wars, the need for more personnel decreased, and they were involuntarily discharged. In 1982, the Department of Defense released a statement stating homosexuality is incompatible with military service. This statement resulted in the DoD involuntarily discharging more than 1,500 gay and lesbian service members annually between 1980 and 1990. In 1988, a report conducted by the DoD and Defense Personnel Security Research reinforced findings in a report conducted in 1957. This report found that gay and lesbian service members pose no risk to security. This was a pivotal moment because it disputed previous thought that gay individuals posed a risk to national security. In 1993, President Bill Clinton signed the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy. This policy barred gay and lesbian service members from serving openly. This law prohibited the harassment of the closeted military service members. In 2011, President Clinton's Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy was repealed by President Obama.
For we are not a nation that says, don't ask, don't tell. We are a nation that says, out of many, we are one. We are a nation that welcomes the service of every patriot. We are a nation that believes that all men and women are created equal. Those are the ideals that generations have fought for. Those are the ideals that we uphold today, and now it is my honor to sign this bill into law.
In 2015, Secretary of Defense Ash Carter announces the Military Equal Opportunity Policy has been modified to include gay and lesbian service members. In spring 2015, between April and July, a number of transgender service members, including Sergeant Shane Ortega, Airman Logan Ireland, and Jamie Lee Henry, both a major and a doctor in the Army Medical Corps, come out publicly, garnering major media attention. In July of 2015, Secretary of Defense Carter issues a directive which says that no service member can be discharged on grounds of gender identity without approval from Secretary of Defense for personnel and readiness. In 2016, the Senate confirms Eric Fanning as Secretary of the Army, making him the first openly gay Secretary of the U.S. military branch. During President Trump's campaign in 2016, he promised he would support the LGBTQ community.
As your president, I will do everything in my power to protect our LGBTQ citizens from the violence and oppression of a hateful foreign ideology.
In July of 2016, President Trump announces that the United States government will not accept or allow transgender individuals to serve in any capacity in the military, citing potential increases in medical costs as the driving factor behind the decision. In December of 2017, a second federal judge rules against Trump's transgender military ban. The Department of Justice continues to appeal this ruling. In March 2018, Trump rescinds his policy in favor of a new policy, denoting that transgender persons with a history or diagnosis of gender dysphoria, individuals who the policies state may require substantial medical treatment, including medications and surgery, are disqualified from military service except under limited circumstances. In January 2019, the Supreme Court allows the ban on transgender service members to go through. In a statement released after the Supreme Court action, the Pentagon sought to clarify that this policy is not a ban on all transgender persons from the military. With these strict policies comes violence. In the report, SDLN claims to have documented 968 incidences of anti-gay harassment, including a murder, assaults, death threats, and verbal gay bashings from February 1999 to February 2000, up 142% from a record 400 violations the preceding year. Not only are they pushed out of service, but dishonorably discharged and left without benefits. Even worse are the service members who have been victims of hate crimes because of their sexuality. There have been many accounts of violent assaults done by other service members. The most infamous case of gay bashing in the military was the July 1999 beating of Army Private Barry Winchell, a gay soldier at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Private Winchell enlisted during the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy. Winchell was outed during a weekend outing with his fellow servicemen when he met a trans showgirl at a club in Nashville. The two developed an intimate relationship and began dating. Winchell's peers found out, and that was when the harassment started. The harassment continued until 4th of July weekend, where there was an altercation between fellow soldier Calvin Glover and Winchell. Winchell's roommate, Justin Fisher, proceeded to harass Glover for losing to, quote, a fucking faggot. On July 5th, Glover took a baseball bat and struck Winchell in the head and beat him to death. Glover was later sentenced for his crimes, but this display of violence led Secretary of Defense William Cohen to order a review of the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy, which some asserted was a significant factor in Winchell's harassment and murder. Despite campaigning by Winchell's parents and LGBTQ activists, the commanding general of Fort Campbell at the time of the murder, Major General Robert T. Clark, refused to take responsibility for the purported anti-gay climate at Fort Campbell under his command. Seaman August Provost was found dead in a guard shack on Camp Pendleton in 2009. Reports have indicated that he told his family he was being harassed about his sexual orientation, but he didn't want to reach out to his superiors due to the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy. The Navy tried to sell it as a crime of circumstance instead of a hate crime. 3rd Navy Captain Matt Brown, a career Navy officer, told reporters, "What I can tell you unequivocally at this point, based on preliminary information that we have, is that regardless of the person standing watch in that sentry station, this crime would have most likely been carried out in the same way. In other words, another sailor could have been at that post and would have been the victim of the same crime." During the trial, the suspect, Petty Officer Jonathan Campos, committed suicide. It was never fully classified a hate crime, but the violence under the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy leads us to believe otherwise. The Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy is no longer in effect, but an even bigger threat to the safety of our men and women in uniform exists. President Trump's transgender ban can mean more outbreaks of hate crimes with this new policy. The past has shown us that when policies seek to discriminate, it leaves the door open for people to carry out hate crimes. All people, regardless of gender, race, and sexuality, deserve to raise their right hand for our country. We will fight to end the hatred toward the LGBTQ community in the military and make it a safe place for all to serve our country.